What's up, everybody? Some weekly Q&A. I hope you guys can hear me this time. I know last time somebody said that you couldn't hear me, but let's hope this works. Um, Rocking and rolling. Just really quickly, quick announcement. For those of you guys who are charging, what in my opinion, too little, usually in this $500 a month range, we're running a little offer right now to help you get your first person by putting a zero on that, at least at $2,500. It'll make a huge difference for you guys. I won't go too much into detail, but I'm going to be making some posts about the group if you're interested in that. Reach out to me and I can send you some details. They're all inside of a Google Doc. Let's get into it. Daniel, HIPAA. How does your agency stay HIPAA compliant? What do you say when a dentist is asking if your agency is HIPAA compliant? Is it enough to have a high-level account plus the HIPAA add-on and a BAA? Please help. Thanks in advance. Daniel, I don't actually know what a BAA is, so I'll just tell you my experience, and I don't know all the ins and outs of HIPAA, but I have worked in niches where HIPAA is a thing. Dentists, plastic surgeons are two that immediately jump to mind, as well as dermatologists I've done some stuff with. And from a marketing perspective, the biggest thing that you got to do to stay HIPAA compliant is basically not like mention people's symptoms or personal medical information in an ad. So the best way to get around that I've found is to do like stories. So say you're like retargeting somebody who has a knee problem and it's a chiropractor and you're trying to stay HIPAA compliant. You can tell a story about like Frankie's knee, blah, 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 and he did this and that, but you can't say directly, is your knee injured? So that's how you kind of stay HIPAA compliant. And the biggest place you got to watch for it is in your retargeting ads. Leo, how important it is to have an offer in your ad copy, your headline? We're advertising a jewelry business store online and are seeing great success without a dedicated offer. With ad copy without a dedicated offer, leading to category page. Are we leaving on the money table advertising X discount now? Should you have an offer in your conversion campaign every time? Leo, it depends. Like, to be honest, like if you like making money, you should definitely have an offer. But in your case, if it's working well for you already, chances are that you guys probably actually have something unique and valuable to offer in the jewelry space. And so I tend to like, if a campaign's not working, I wouldn't fuck with it too much. But having said that, there's definitely an opportunity for you to retarget with an offer, especially if they actually click like add to cart and things like that. But yeah, I mean, you're leaving money on the table without an offer. And by the way, offer is not just save money. Like there's things you can add to it to make it more valuable. Jordan, has anyone had any luck generating leads for a personal trainer on Facebook? Yes, Jordan, lots of people. I don't actually do it myself, but lots of people in my circle do. Here's the thing, right? You got to have like some kind of offer that takes them out of the dime a dozen personal trainer. I do this for $10 an hour. Come work with me. That's the biggest thing is that like personal trainers don't realize that they just sell, I'm a personal trainer, come train with me. Hopefully you'll like me more than other people, especially with everything that's gone on in the world. The biggest thing that'll actually help you on that is to find a specific niche and a problem that person can like focus in on. So, maybe it's somebody who like wants to get in shape for a wedding, or maybe it's like beach abs or something like that. But as long as they're just a generic personal trainer, that's going to be the struggle, not whether or not Facebook ads work. Like the question implies like, does Facebook ads work for personal trainers? And it's Facebook ads works on people. So as long as there's people on Facebook, it's going to work. The problem is personal trainers are like one of the most oversaturated, boring ass niches. So you got to like figure out a way to take that offer and bring it to life. Miles, how do you guys handle the objection that's out of my marketing budget? Thanks in advance. So Miles, this is a loaded question. I know most people will tell you to like, to like put it back to them, like, do you like making money, and kind of like pressure them. I'll tell you, there's a couple of things going on there. And I'll tell you, I first had this experience. I was working with I got on a call with a lawyer named Alexa. She was a brand new beginning lawyer, and I had a package that was like $1,000, like an intro package. And she said that was way too much money. She's brand new. She doesn't have money to spend. And I ran into her like a month later and asked her how she was doing. And she said, "Oh, great. I hired this SEO company and I just knew them personally. And I knew they were about at like the $2,000 to $3,000 a month range per month, right? So like my $1,000 one time was quote unquote too much." So part of what they're trying to tell you is that your offer is not that sexy. But the other thing is more than likely you're dealing with people who aren't used to spending that kind of money in the first place. So the ways you can deal with that are either have like a very small like intro first date offer where they can try you out, or just don't advertise to people. Don't try and like recruit clients who aren't spending money in the first place, right? It's we don't realize it, but if you have a client who's not advertising, then you actually have two sales to make. One is you got to convince them advertising is worth it. And two is that you have to convince them you're the right person for it. It's way easier to take somebody who's already advertising and understands the value of it and then show them that you got something like new to a value to contribute. So chances are you're just offering it to the wrong person and you're making the wrong offer. And those two things are going to get you that it's I don't have the budget and those kind of things. Because what you'll find is when the offer is right and you're making it to the right person, the budget just miraculously shows up. Yusuf, iOS effects starting to kick in. What do you guys do? Adapt? Yusuf, if you've been doing this game long enough, like so I've been doing this since 2007, and I'll just let you know a couple of things I've seen along the way. I've seen AdWords. There used to be a thing called like a made for AdSense site, and what it was is people would create little websites optimized for keywords where they could put Google ads, and they would go after expensive keywords that cost a lot, and they would earn money through that. And then Google realized they were just making like a ton of like really shitty quality websites. And so overnight they just kicked out like gazillions of people out of AdSense. And there were all these people that lost money. I've seen at least 5 major Google updates where people just lose their rankings. I've mentioned this before, but I've seen one comes to mind. I was working with Dan Crystal in the group, and there was a limo company that he had that was doing $1 million per month selling leads to limo with their SEO, and they lost their Google ranking. And they lost $1 million per month, so a $12 million per year business overnight because a Google ranking disappeared. And so I've seen people lose their Facebook ad accounts. I've seen people lose their AdWords accounts. The simple answer is fucking adjust. And I'll tell you the biggest thing that people screw up is they don't realize the goal of Facebook and other platforms and YouTube and whatever else is not to like build lists and audience on Facebook so you can retarget them. I'm saying those are useful things. But the goal is to turn that into traffic you control, your own email list, your own follow-up, your own group, so that you have the ability to turn it on and off. So chances are, if you're losing, it's really actually it's going to create an opportunity for the marketers who like know what they're doing. To be quite honest with you, Yusuf, especially like when you go across platforms and things like that. Jeff. Anyone here using a bonus structure for their employee or staff? What are you bonusing? How do you calculate it? I was thinking a certain number of client testimonials, profit, or even time to go live. How do you do it? The only bonuses I've ever done, Jeff, is on like sales side, and it's pretty standard. Like if your salespeople are signing up people and signing up the right people, it's pretty standard to give them extra. Usually, typically, like salespeople are paid like 10%. I would say sometimes as high as 20. I always try and go as high as 30 because I think like it's a very underrated thing to be able to close sales. And I just had a bunch of shitty people. So, but I've never incentivized other people. It's probably a good idea. I'm not telling you not to do it. I've never done that personally. Miles, anyone have advice on helping clients close inbound Facebook ad leads? Miles, this is a real problem in our niche. Is you generate leads for people, especially if you work for local brick and mortar businesses, and then they tell you your leads are shit. All your leads are bad. They're all trash. They're all bad. And then when you actually dig into it, they don't answer the phone. They say really stupid things, or they get asked the same question 100 times and they don't know how to handle that question. That comes up a lot too. So part of what you want to do in that case is build systems to help them do that. So I noticed this like with lawyers. One of the things is I knew they're just really bad at answering the phone. So what I did is I built like a whole training system. And it was just like all it was sample recordings that I had my team go through and call, and some of them were me. And we called law firms, and then we recorded them, and then we made a listing of the bad ones and the good ones, and then we let them listened to what a bad phone call sound like and listened to a good one and said, do you see how you're doing the things the bad ones are doing? So we need you to do this correctly. But the more you can like add value to your offer by being more than just like leads and helping them actually convert those leads, the more you're going to keep those clients for longer. So it's in your best interest to do that. And for me, it was just a training thing that we gave out over and over. Tahada, any advice for someone new to website building and optimization? Yeah, Tahada, don't fucking start with website building and optimization. That is like step 272, and most people begin there. They go, how do I SEO and get traffic? And I'll give you a story of how I learned this the hard way. So I had a friend of mine who's a mortgage broker in Toronto, Canada, and he told me one day, I'm buying mortgage leads off the internet. This was like 2007. Like buying leads was not nearly as popular of a thing as it is today. 2008 maybe. And he was paying like $30 to $40. And my mind just like lit up because I'm like, selling leads is just information, right? Like that's all they were selling. And the company was selling the same lead like 20 times. So they would get somebody who was interested in a mortgage and they would sell that lead for like 20, 30, $40 to like 20 different mortgage brokers. So they would make anywhere from like $400 to $800 every time somebody signed up for a lead. And I was just blown away. I was like, holy shit, like that's an opportunity. So I decided that I wanted to be in that business, and I created what I called a mortgage search engine. So you would go through, you would put in your mortgage criteria, and then you would search like, here's what I'm looking for in a mortgage. And then what happened is it would spit out mortgage brokers, and just like Google, there would be like sponsorship opportunities and things like that. And what ended up happening is mortgage keywords are really competitive. So it took me, and I was really good at SEO at those times, but it still took me 15 months start to finish to rank that. And then I ended up ranking. I got to like number 2 or number 3 or something like that for a couple of big money keywords, and nobody filled out the mortgage application, like not a soul. And what I found was like, it was a big waste of money and it was a big waste of time. And the biggest thing is like I was trying to optimize before I had a working offer, before I had something the market wanted. So my biggest thing is like take what you got, put it in front of a real fucking human being and validate your offer before you go through and optimize and build websites. If it doesn't work in a real person in a real life, like if you can't send somebody a text message and have them say, I'm interested in buying that or I'm interested in that offer, then adding like optimization and website building is just not going to help. So those things are good, by the way. I'm just saying don't start with those. Start with like taking an offer and validate it with a real human being. If you do that, you'll make so many less mistakes and so many less headaches. For me, what would have been most valuable in the example I just gave, if I had just like called up a couple of people who were looking for mortgages, I could have found them on like Craigslist or something, and said, would you be interested in this? And they would have said no. And probably because it's not hard for them to find a mortgage broker, so they don't need a search engine for them. And then I would have saved myself 15 months of grueling building backlinks and optimizing to find out like the idea didn't even work. So just trying to save you those kind of challenges. Chris, I'm looking to scale up this year and have been looking at white label options, been using a popular one for about 4 months now. And out of 10 keywords, I'm pretty much only ranking for 1. And it's in position 10 on local. I know obviously SEO takes time. I wanted to have a complete hands-off experience to see how it would pan out. The idea is to sign up clients and then white label, but I was kind of expecting more, especially looking at some of the posts with the look at the position 1 rankings after just 2 to 3 months. Who do you recommend, trust, and have seen good results with? Chris, this is the number 1 reason to first date before you like commit to like an SEO white label person. Because to be honest, like SEO is one of those things. It's very, very saturated in terms of how many people do SEO, but it's not saturated in terms of like really good SEO. It's just saturated in terms of number of people who offer it. I would say of the people who offer SEO, 8 or 9 out of 10 are shit at it or not very good at it, and I wouldn't trust with it. So the way you protect yourself is before you completely white label a project, you give somebody like a small 1-month trial and see what they can do. So I actually experienced this. One of my first big breakthroughs in my agency was I was doing SEO, and I had a client who reached out to me and said, hey, can you do some SEO for this plastic surgeon's website? Let's try like a month or 2 and see how it goes. And so I ended up taking him from like page 20 to like the bottom of page 1 in a month. And he was like blown away at like, holy shit, that was like amazing. And then what ended up happening is he threw like 40 or 50 clients at me after that, but we did a small little first date together to make sure it would work. And so you want to be the person doing that little, like small little test the other way, making sure people can actually deliver, and that not just that they can deliver on their SEO value, but that you actually like working together, because there's more things than that. You know, there's reporting, there's client communication, there's those kind of things, and your back and forth communication with each other. So before you commit to somebody for 4 months, try them out, just on a small scale with one little project. And that's the best way to find a white labeler. So what I would do, I like to create what I call my own little reality show. So if I got like 10 projects and I'm trying to find a good white labeler, I might try 10 different people on a little trial for like 10 different websites, and I'll move forward with the best one or two and try a second date, and then before I commit to something long term. That's how it's always worked out best for me. Going out on a whim here, I have a pre-existing agency at the brink of being able to take this on and hire, but here's the catch. I don't currently have enough business to get someone else on board, and I find it very difficult to give 100% to the people I have while trying to find leads and do literally everything myself. I provide online services such as website creation, management, SEO, cinematography, photography, really trying to build more than just a simple agency. Who wants to take part in world domination with me? Well, Adam, the problem with that is actually you're taking on so many different things that it'll be impossible for you to hire people, because you're doing just too many different things for too many different people. That's my telephone, by the way. Which obviously I'm not going to answer right at this moment. But what ends up happening, Adam, is because it sounds like if you're doing website for one client, management, SEO for another, cinematography, photography, video stuff, those are like 10 different jobs that you're going to have to hire people for. So you can't like just hire one person to take work off of your plate. So you're actually not set up to scale right now. You're set up like in the opposite direction of scale. So I know you probably want to scale up and go to world domination, but the way your agency's set up, you can't actually do that right now. So what you need to do is like narrow that focus, at least for a while, and scale up one of those services. And I would suggest, which one of those do you most enjoy doing? Which one's most profitable? And when you put those together, that's the one you should be scaling up. And then you should be like systematizing and processing that. But as long as you're doing website design and management and SEO and a little bit of cinematography and a little video and all those different things, you're just not set up to scale, because you're probably charging too little and you can't afford to hire good people. And it's really hard to explain to a person, I need you to do this custom video here, this SEO there, this web. You're looking for a diamond in the rough, and you're probably not going to find it. So that's what you want to do, Adam, is like really simplify your offerings, or you're just not going to be able to scale. Like that's the enemy of scale right there, is doing too many things for too many different people. So yeah. And then that's the last question I got for this week. I'd just like to add, if you guys are interested in taking it so that you can up your pricing and get your first like premium client, reach out to me. I've got a Google Doc with some details on that. Other than that, I will post the replay of this on YouTube, and much love to you guys.